Good morning, children. How are you all, children? I hope everyone is fine. Today, let us move on to the chapter The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. It is the fourth chapter from the book Honeycomb. This lesson is an adapted version of a Japanese story which depicts the strong bond between humans and animals. The story is written by William Elliot Griffiths. Now, here there are some word meanings. Let's look into that. The first one is daimyos, which means wealthy land owners. The next one is snug. Snug means comfortable. Then gleamed. It means glittered. Coaxed. Coaxed means persuaded. The next one is dainties. Dainties means tasty food. Covetous means greedy. The next one is crone. Crone means old woman. Carcass, that means dead body. Stingy means miserly. Withered means bare and dry. Gleefully means happily. The last one is seized, that means caught. Now let's look into the story. Once upon a time, there lived an old couple who had no children. They had a pet dog named Muko, whom they loved as if it was their own baby. The old dame made it a cushion of blue crepe. They fed Muko with fish, boiled rice, as much as he wanted from their own chopsticks. The dog also loved them very much. The old man was a rice farmer. He went to the fields every day and worked hard from morning to evening. His dog Muko too followed him to the fields and never ever harmed the herons that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. One day, the dog came running to him and putting his paws against his legs, motioned with his head to some spot behind. The old man at first thought his pet was only playing and did not mind it at all. But then the dog began to whine and run to and fro. The old man followed the dog a few yards to a place where it started scratching. Thinking that his pet was trying to reach for a buried bone or a bit of fish, the old man struck his hoe in the earth. To his wonder, a pile of gold gleamed before him. Thus, the old couple, who now became rich, bought a piece of land, gave feast to their friends, and also helped their poor neighbors. In the same village, there lived a greedy and wicked old couple who always treated dogs cruelly. They heard about their neighbor's good luck, and so they coaxed a dog into their garden and set before him bits of fish and other dainties, hoping that he would find treasure for them too. But the dog was scared. It neither ate nor moved. They dragged the dog out and walked with him. When they reached a pine tree, the dog began to scratch the ground. Now the delighted wicked couple began to dig too. But what they got was only a dead kitten. This made them very angry, and they killed the dog. They flung him into the hole they had dug and heaped the earth over his dead body. The sad news reached the ears of its owner, who was really heartbroken. He felt as if he had lost his own son. He went to the place where his pet was buried and mourned for a long time, calling him many dear names. That night, the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree over my grave and make from it a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce." The old man did as he was told by the dog in his dreams. With great difficulty, he made a small bowl and a long handled hammer with the pine wood. As the new year drew near, he decided to make some rice pastry. The old couple put some boiled rice in the wooden mortar and used the wooden hammer to pound the mass into a dough. When the pastry was ready for baking, it turned into a mass of gold coins. The old woman took the hand mill and, filling it with bean sauce, began to grind. The gold dropped like rain. At this moment, the envious neighbor peeped in through the window. He decided to borrow the mill on seeing the gold coins. The old couple were very generous and readily gave their mill to their greedy neighbor. The greedy old man began to pound the rice while his old wife, who too was greedy and cruel, began to grind. However, this time the pastry and sauce turned into worms. They were so angry that they destroyed the mill and used it as firewood. Now, this was the first part of the story. Based on that, we have some questions. So, in the comprehension check, the first question is, why did the neighbors kill the dog? The answer is, when the neighbors came to know that Muko had found treasure for his master, the wicked old couple coaxed the dog and brought it to their garden. Greedily hoping that he would find treasure for them too, they dragged the scared dog out until he began to scratch under a pine tree. On digging the ground, the greedy old man found nothing but a dead kitten. This made them angry and killed the dog. The second question is, mark the right item. So here you're given some sentences and some options are given to you. From this, you have to select the most appropriate option. The first one is, the old farmer and his wife loved the dog. And the options given to you are A, because it helped them in their day-to-day work. B, as if it was their own baby. C, as they were kind to all living beings. And the answer is B, as if it was their own baby. Second one, when the old couple became rich, they, the options are A, gave the dog better food. B, invited their greedy neighbors to a feast. C, lived comfortably and were generous towards their poor neighbors. The most appropriate answer is C, lived comfortably and were generous towards their poor neighbors. Third one, the greedy couple borrowed the mill and mortar to make A, rice pastry and bean sauce. B, magic ash to win rewards. C, a pile of gold. And the answer is C, a pile of gold. Now let us move on to the second part of the story. The old man had another dream. And in his dream, the spirit of their pet dog Muko told him to take the ashes of the mill and spread it on the withered trees. He assured him that they would bloom again. The good old man went to his wicked neighbor's house and found them sitting before the fireplace. They were warming themselves with the burning pieces of the mill. He humbly asked them for some ashes and was resentfully allowed to take a basketful. Being winter, the cherry tree was bare, and as the old man sprinkled a pinch of ashes on it, to his joy and surprise, the tree was covered with blossoms. And now the news spread far and wide. The wicked couple greedily gathered the remaining ashes to make their withered trees bloom. The kind old man heard that his lord and the daimyo was to pass along the high road. According to the custom, all the people had to shut up their high windows. Nobody was even allowed to look down on lordship. They had to kneel upon their hands and knees and remain prostrate until the procession passed by. A tall man marched ahead crying out to the people to get down on their knees. The good old man didn't kneel down. Instead, he climbed on a tree and scattered a bit of ashes over the withered cherry tree. Suddenly, it burst into blossom. The delighted landlord got out to see the wonder and thanked the old man. He also offered him presents and invited him to the castle. When the greedy neighbor heard of it, he also took the magic ashes to the highway. He waited until the landlord's train came along, and instead of kneeling down like the crowd, he climbed a withered cherry tree. When the landlord was directly under him, he threw a handful of ashes over the tree, but it showed no change. The fine particles of ash rather blew into the nose and eyes of his lordship. The man who was escorting the lord dragged the greedy man from the tree and threw him into the ditch. He also beat him soundly. The greedy man thus died in the mud. The kind owner of Muko lived happily in peace and plenty with his wife to a green old age. Now let's try to solve the exercises based on the chapter. Working with the text, the first part is answer the following questions. Question 1. The old farmer is a kind person. What evidences of his kindness do you find in the first two paragraphs? So what you have to do is read the first two paragraphs and find out the points to show that the man was very kind. So the answer is, in the first paragraph, we come to know that the old farmer treated the dog like his own child. He fed the dog small pieces of fish and boiled rice with their own chopsticks as much as he wanted. In the second paragraph, we see that he often turned up a sword on purpose to give food to the birds. These instances prove that the old man was a kind person. Second question. What did the dog do to lead the farmer to the hidden gold? The dog came running to the farmer and kept his paws against his legs. With its head, it kept on directing towards a spot behind him. The old man initially ignored the dog, but it kept on whining and running to and fro until the farmer followed it to the spot. Third question. How did the spirit of the dog help the farmer first? And the second part of the question is, how did it help him next? Let's answer the first part. When the spirit of the dog came in the farmer's dream for the first time, he asked him to chop the pine tree and make mortar and hand mill out of it. With the mortar and mill, the farmer got heaps of gold. Now answer to the second part. The dog spirit came in the farmer's dream for the second time and told the farmer to collect the ash of the burnt mill and sprinkle it on the withered trees to make the bare trees bloom. The farmer did this in front of the daimyo, who was delighted and rewarded the old man lavishly. Fourth question. Why did the daimyo reward the farmer but punish his neighbor for the same act? Answer. When the farmer sprinkled some ash over the withered cherry tree, it burst into blossom. This made daimyo so pleased and delighted that he rewarded the farmer lavishly. His neighbor too sprinkled the ash over the bare cherry tree to make it bloom, but nothing happened to the tree. Instead, the fine particles got carried by the wind and entered the eyes of the daimyo and his wife. They began to sneeze and cough. This spoiled the splendor of the procession, and the angry tall man of the landlord punished the neighbor by beating him to death. Now let's move on to the next part of the exercise, that is working with language. Question 1. Read the following conversation. So here you have the conversation between Ravi and Mridu. So first read that. Ravi, what are you doing? Mridu, I am reading a book. Ravi, who wrote it? Mridu, Ruskin Bond. Ravi, where did you find it? Mridu, in the library. So in the above conversation, you'll notice that what, who, where are question words. Questions that require information begin with question words. Some other question words are when, why, where, which, and how. Now there are certain things that you should keep in mind. The question words like what ask about acting, things, etc. Who ask about people. Which ask about people or things. Where ask about place. When ask about time. Why ask about reason or purpose. How asks about means, manner or degree. Whose asks about possessions. Now read the following paragraph and frame questions on the italicized phrases. So here a paragraph is given to you and there are some words in italics. So what you have to do is you have to ask questions to get that answer. Now after having read this paragraph, we have to frame questions in such a way that we get the italicized phrases as answer. So based on the first line, the question is, where is Anil? So for that, the answer is Anil is in school. Now the next question will be, which row is he sitting in? So the answer will be, Anil is sitting in the left row. Next question that you can frame is, what is he doing? And the answer to that will be, he is reading a book. The next question that is framed is, where is Anil's friend sitting? So the answer you will get is, Anil's friend is sitting in the second row. The next question is, what is his friend doing? So you can get the answer as, he is sharpening his pencil. Next one, who is writing on the blackboard? So you can look above, the answer is, the teacher is writing on the blackboard. The next one is, what are some children doing? The answer is, some children are looking out of the window. Now question 2. Write appropriate question words in the blank spaces in the following dialogue. So here you have got a dialogue between Neha and Sheila. There are some blanks. So after reading this, you have to fill in with appropriate question words. The first one is, Neha, dash, did you get this book? Sheila, yesterday morning. So the answer is yesterday morning. So it is based on time. So the question is, when did you get this book? Next one is Neha. Again there is a blank now. Is your sister crying? The answer Sheila gives is because she has lost her doll. So it is a reason. So you can write, why is your sister crying? Now the next question that Neha asks is, there's a blank now. Room is this yours or hers? The answer that Sheila gives is, it is ours. So it is automatically whose. So the question will be, whose room is this? Yours or hers? The next question that Neha is asking is, there's a blank now. Do you go to school? The answer that Sheila gives is, we walk to school. It is nearby. So automatically the question will be how. How do you go to school? Now the third question, fill in the blanks with the words given in the box. So you can see there are some words like how, what, when, where, which. That is given in the box. Now what you have to do is, you have to read those sentences given below and fill in each blanks with the words from the box. The first one is, my friend lost his chemistry book. Now he doesn't know. It's a dash to do and dash to look for it. So the correct option is, now he doesn't know what to do and where to look for it. The next one is, there are so many toys in the shops. Nina can't decide. Now there's a blank there, one to buy. So decide which one to buy. The next one is, you don't know the way to my school. Ask the policeman, now there's a blank there, to get there. So you can fill it as, ask the policeman how to get there. The next one, you should decide soon, there's a dash there, to start building your house. So here you can fill up with, you should decide soon when to start building your house. You can also write, you should decide soon where to start building your house. Next one, do you know dash to ride a bicycle? I don't remember dash and dash, I learned it. So this is how you can write, do you know how to ride a bicycle? I don't remember when and where I learned it. And the last one is, you should know when to talk and when to keep your mouth shut, the teacher advised Anil. It could also be, you should know where to talk and where to keep your mouth shut. Question 4. Add IM or IN to each of the following words and use them in place of the italicized words in the sentences given below. So in the box you are given the words patient, proper, possible, sensitive, competent. There are some sentences given to you below, and each sentence has got some italicized words. So what we have to do is, we have to find out the appropriate word from the box and add IM or IN to make the opposite words of the words given in the box. Let's see. The first one is, the project appears very difficult at first sight, but it can be completed if we work very hard. So the words in italics is very difficult. So if you look into the box, the word given there is possible. So what we can do is, to get the opposite of possible, we can add IM. So it becomes impossible. Now if you look into the meaning of impossible, it is very difficult. Now the next one is, he lacks competence. That's why he can't keep any job for more than a year. Now the word in italics here is lacks competence. Now in the box we can see competent. So what we have to do is add IN or IM, which is the most appropriate one. It is IN to make it incompetent. Now if you look into the word meaning of incompetent, it is lacks competence. So that's the appropriate word. The next one is don't lose patience. Your letter will come one day, the postman told me. So here, don't lose patience. And in the box, you can see the word patient. So what we can do is add I am in front of patient and make it impatient. So if we look into the word meaning of impatient, it is don't lose patience. Next one is that's not a proper remark to make under the circumstances. Now in the box you can see the word proper, and we can add I am in front of proper and make it improper. Now let's try out. Yes, that's not proper. Not proper means improper. Next one is he appears to be without sensitivity. In fact, he is very emotional. So here the word without sensitivity is in italics. And now look into the box, you can find the word sensitive. So add in front of sensitive to make it insensitive. So insensitive means without sensitivity. Now the fifth question, read the following sentences. It was a cold morning and stars still glowed in the sky. An old man was walking along the road. The words in italicized are articles. A and an are indefinite articles, and the is the definite article. A is used before a singular countable noun. An is used before a word that begins with a vowel. Now in the box you are given the words a boy, an actor, a mango, an apple, a university, an or. So this is how you use a and an. Now keeping this in mind, use a, an or the in the blanks. So what you have to do is read this paragraph that is given to you below. There are blanks in each line. So based on the understanding, you have to fill it with the articles a, an or they. So here it is done for you. There was once a play which became very unsuccessful. A famous actor was acting in it. In the play, his role was that of an aristocrat who had been imprisoned in a castle for 20 years. In the last act of the play, someone would come on the stage with a letter which he would hand over to the prisoner. Even though the aristocrat was not expected to read the letter at each performance, he always insisted that the letter should be read out from beginning to the end. Now the sixth question, encircle the correct article. So in each sentences you can see there are options given to you. From the given options you have to select the apt article word. So the first one, Nina was looking for a or the job. So the apt one is A because she's looking for any job. So she's looking for a job. The second part of the sentence is after many interviews, she got the job she was looking for. So here the apt one is the job. You're talking about the particular job that she was looking for. So you can see there are several sentences given to you, and in brackets you are given the options A and the. So based on the sentences and looking at the words that follows, you have to select the correct option. So now it is done for you. Let's look into the sentences given there. Now there is a conversation between A and B. Let's see how it is done. A, would you like an apple or a banana? B, I would like an apple, please. A, take the red one in a fruit bowl. You may take an orange also if you like. B, which one? A, the one beside the banana. Now let's move to the speaking and writing part. Question 1. Put each of the following in the correct order. Then use them appropriately to fill in the blanks in the paragraph that follows. Use correct punctuation marks. And below that you can see 3 sentences. It's actually not sentences, it's just a portion of a sentence which is all in a jumbled up way. So you have to rearrange these words below to form a meaningful part of the sentence. And then use that in the blanks given below. So let's try to solve it out. Ravikant is a writer and he writes both in English and Hindi. Of course, he is much happier writing in English than in Hindi. He has written many books in English and only few short stories in Hindi. I find his books a little hard to understand. My Hindi is much better than my English. With this, we come to the end of our chapter. Hope you have understood the chapter. If there is any doubts, please clear it. Thank you.